So let me switch gears real quick and talk about results. So this is all well and good. It's a nice and neat customer experience, but the question is always, why do this? Why make the investment? And the answer is manyfold, and it's different from different utilities. But here are a few answers. Number one is energy efficiency. The behavioral change and behavioral energy savings that we have so many utilities now clearly measured, the result from this level of customer engagement is extremely exciting to energy efficiency managers all over the country. On the left here, you see the impact that behavioral programs, and this slide says O-Power because these are our results. I wish it didn't say O-Power because this should be representative of customer engagement in general. But on the left, you see the impact that you have per 100,000 targeted households, and on the right, you see the cost effectiveness. And in both cases, it's very compelling. The impact is high. The cost effectiveness is very attractive. And that is because the approach that we've outlined here is heavily reliant on information and using channels that are relatively cost effective. So what you're able to do is scale quickly to a lot of households and do this in a very cost effective fashion that delivers real energy savings. The other impact that we see 100% of the time in all of our deployments is what we call this halo effect. People being engaged through the various channels all of a sudden tend to participate in all the other utility marketed programs at a significantly higher rate. And this is one utility example where we're seeing between a 50 and 60% uptick in participation in programs such as appliance recycling and home energy audits and AC tuning and so forth. And we've seen as high as 100 to 200% in some cases customer participation. And this is all, in our mind, a result of personalizing the offer, presenting it to a customer in a way that makes sense, much like I described that email with the Wi-Fi enabled coupon. If it makes sense as to why they should be doing it specific to their energy usage, the actual customer uptake rate is significantly higher. And last, probably most excitingly in some ways, is the customer sentiment. On the left here, you see a test versus control group survey where we've asked the customers a few set of questions. On the one hand, customers who have been receiving, in this case, our home energy report. On the other hand, it would be control group who wasn't receiving our home energy report. And of course, and unsurprisingly, answers to the questions such as, do you think your utility wants you to help save money or energy and so forth is higher for those people receiving the report versus not. What was really, in many ways, astounding is when we also asked about the overall satisfaction with the utility. And we all know that overall customer satisfaction in the J.D. Power Index is dominated by really two factors, by the price and the rate that you offer and how they perceive the rate that they're currently paying, and of course reliability, whether there's been a recent outage. Of course, in this case, we have not changed either of those things. They're still paying the same rate, and their reliability is the same as before. And yet, for this Midwest utility, it's a large utility, we're withholding their name for their client confidentiality reasons, but they have seen a statistically significant 5% increase in overall customer satisfaction as a result of them taking the steps to proactively engage their customers and show them all the goodness that their utility does for them. So incredible finding, and we've seen this similar findings repeated over and over again in many deployments across the world. So just to wrap up quickly here, the 6 steps to customer engagement that I mentioned here, one is to think about a cross-channel and holistic customer experience. We see a lot of RFPs out there that just talk about the web or maybe just talk about the mobile channel. What ends up happening is the different channels look and feel different, and they're also not aware of each other. So really a successful strategy is to think about customer engagement as a cross-channel effort and potentially think about your RFPs in that way as well. Number 2 is, a prerequisite to being successful is to build a 360-degree view of your customer. That's an IT project on the back end of pulling all your different databases into one place so then you can actually know who you're talking to and how best to engage them. Number 3, engage with outbound channels. Don't make the mistake of just putting up a new website and thinking they will come. Number 4, once you've engaged them, do provide them a set of self-service tools that are on par with what we're seeing other service providers, i.e. cable companies or telcos, are providing as well. If you don't do that, you risk losing your customers. Personalized offers that you're sending them in the mail, you have the ability to do that based on energy data. And number 6, eventually we're seeing a significant uptake in Wi-Fi enabled thermostat. but also in a slower burn, electric vehicles and solar panels are coming online. And your customers, as Bob's slide showed, your customers definitely expect the utility to be aware of these products and to take into consideration whatever investment they've made inside their homes. So having the technical infrastructure to talk to these devices is going to be a requisite for a complete customer experience. Some of this may be a little bit overlap with what I just said, but 4 mistakes worth calling out again is, one, and Bob alluded to this as well, is rolling out a smart grid without visible improvement to the customer experience. I hope the industry has learned this lesson by now, but customers have a hard time understanding the longer-term positive impact of reliability and so forth from smart meters. They really want to see a visible change in their day-to-day customer experience, be it a web portal or a new mobile app or what have you. So it's very important. If you can do that, that can make a huge difference. Second, relying on customers to take the initiative. So many utilities put a shiny new website up and see very disappointing usage of it. So having a proactive behavioral engagement strategy in place is necessary. Don't underestimate the challenge of data analytics. I think most utilities are taking this seriously, but it's absolutely important to get this right in the back end. And of course, to not overly rely on in-home hardware, as we've seen, at least for the foreseeable future. In-home hardware is going to be a part of a relatively small percentage of homes for the next few years, and yet there's a lot to be done in the overall customer engagement approach. And let me just leave you with a couple of next steps. Do check out the Pike Research white paper. I just read it, and it's quite good and talks about this space. Talk to your peers. There are utilities here in the U.S. that have taken really interesting and aggressive steps towards improving their customer experience and engaging their customers. PG&E, BGE, ComEd, National Grid, they all come to mind. So if you're interested in thinking about doing it yourself, they're a great place to go and see what they're up to. As you think about putting out a request for proposal, strongly consider asking for a cross-channel engagement capability, not have a separate vendor for a website versus potentially a home energy reporting program versus a mobile app. If at all possible, it's definitely preferable to have a synchronized and seamless experience across all channels. And of course, performance and proven results at scale. It's easy to do a 10,000 home pilot. It's not trivial at all to do a 1 million home smart grid enabled customer engagement program. So we've seen things break at scale, and so the ability for a vendor to prove that they can perform at scale is absolutely key. And lastly, I just wanted to offer, feel free to reach out to us. We're obviously a software provider, but in some ways we're recently emerging as a global exchange of best practices. We've been fortunate enough to forge dozens of utility partnerships around the world, and we're always very happy to put different utilities in touch with each other and match utilities who are facing the same challenges so they can talk and exchange ideas. So feel free to reach out, and we'll be very happy to put you in touch with other utilities doing this stuff. Thank you, and Jesse, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. That was Ogi Kovacevic of O-Power. And before that, we heard from Bob Lockhart of Pike Research. And we're talking about full circle customer engagements. So we can take a few questions right now. So Nate wants to know, Ogi, what about the federal Green Button Initiative?
We've been very actively involved with the White House. We've actually seen, I think it's a very interesting initiative. We see it as a signal, essentially, by the White House and the administration that they support engaging customers, the realization that customers want access to the energy data. And this is yet another way for customers to consume that energy data. And so, our current portal has as a standard and free feature the Green Button download button included for those customers who would like to download a file and use it. And now I will say that it's worth noting that most customers are actually not interested in the raw data, which I think this initiative provides. And simply the level of interest is just not quite that high. What customers want is the so what. And so to the extent that the utility provides them a quick and easy to understand insights and a quick next step or quick action item that they can take to save money, that's really what resonates. But that said, there are always going to be those customers who may want to download every single last kilowatt hour of usage and perhaps run their own analytics on it and so forth. And we support it, and why not allow your customers to have their data?
Lisa wants to know if you use these techniques to help manage peak demand.
Great question. Yes. Yes, we have actually, and I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, but we have seen incredibly heartening results in terms of driving peak demand reduction with just this sort of behavioral engagement program. So without a new time of use rate or without any sort of in-home device that sort of hard controls peak demand, we're just simply seeing that customers tend to save most when they're using the most, or find the opportunities to save the most when they're using the most. So the load curve of our savings is actually highly correlated with peak, and these types of programs in and of themselves deliver substantial peak savings, and we'll have those results. Our analytics team is actually just compiling them right now. We'll probably do a follow-up webinar on just that topic alone.
Okay, terrific. And Amy wants to know what fine for young people. What about the older population? And a related question from Shailesh, who asked, what about low-income population? So, Ogi, what about people who may not be engaged with social media, may not even have a computer for one reason or another?
Yeah. I mean, so as you know, I mean, that's an easy one for us. As you know, our first and main product has been the mailed paper energy report, and specifically for this reason. We're not naive about where the customers are, how they want to interact with their utilities. And in fact, even in this day and age of Facebook and Twitter and mobile applications and so forth, the mail still seems to be the most effective channel to get to all the customer segments, and it's very much a part of our strategy. In fact, we have a saying here at OPower that basically says, engage your customers where they are, not where you wish they were. And then over time, try to move to more cost-effective channels. And in terms of low income, we've actually seen very, very strong response rate, again, to the mailed energy reports from the low income segments, and the energy savings that we've been able to measure in that segment is just as strong as it is for other segments. And so many utilities find this in itself very useful because they have low income mandates. And we haven't deployed our mobile app yet, but if you talk to mobile experts out there and smartphone experts, it turns out, and this may be counterintuitive in some ways, but it turns out that the mobile phone and the smartphone actually is a pretty good way to get to the low income segment and more effective than some of the other means. And so we see very much, again, I think the question speaks to the need to really have a cross-channel approach so that you can reach all segments.
A couple more quick questions from Kaori. How many consumers opt out and by percentage, and do you know some of the reasons?
Yeah, so the opt-out rate has been very, very low. Over the course of the first year, we typically get no more than 1% opt-out. And the reasons vary. Some people just, for some reason just don't like their utility and don't want anything to do with them, and there's sort of very little you can do about it, despite best effort. Other reasons, when you engage them in the mail, they'll opt out of the mail and say, I'm a green customer, please email me. On the other hand, email some customers, they're very protective of the email, and they'll say, no, please don't spam my inbox. And so people have different reasons, but overall, the opt-out rate is so low, and it's a metric we watch very carefully. And it's yet another metric, actually, that supports that most customers who may not take the initiative to ask for this stuff, once presented with the data, will elect to continue to receive it.
Real quickly from Nick, do you see differences by country, in response rates or in the channels they prefer, or is it fairly uniform across the board?
Great question. The behavioral science principles that we use, there's so much academic literature that has been done, and studies have been done all over the world. So we are confident that in terms of the approach and the content, the type of content that we put in our channels is very universally is applicable all over the world, and we are now have some live deployments, just the beginnings, frankly, of some live deployments across the world, but so far it seems to be just as effective as here in the U.S. I will note that the channel preference is different. In Europe in particular, the mobile channel is highly dominant, and the customer preference is very much the mobile channel. It's one of the reasons we're launching that product this year, because of our expansions to Europe, and we've accelerated it. But so there's some difference in the channels, but the interest in the content itself and the behavioral response to it is basically universal.
Oh, thanks. You've been listening to Full Circle Customer Engagement presented by Smart Grid News. Thank you to Bob Lockhart of Pike Research, and thank you to Ogi Kovacevic of OPower, and thank you as well for joining us. Hope to see you again soon at another Smart Grid News webinar.